There we go. Okay. We're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to We Got Cows Cosplay here with Jennifer and Taylor. We have a very special guest today. Taylor, would you like to do introductions?
I would. Hold on one second. So we have a very special guest today. We met this fine gentleman, and I remember exactly where we met him. We were doing our Marty McFly and Doc Brown cosplay, and he came over because he was Biff, and he asked to take a picture with us. And then the next time that we met was the same day when we were doing our Dark Lily and Darkness costume, and he polished Darkness's horns. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Michael Ryan, also known as Grumpy Uncle Cosplay. We are so happy to have him with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, you're very welcome. Very welcome. Okay, so tonight, in addition to Q&A, we're going to be talking about going to a con, things to plan when you're thinking about going to a con. But first, we are going to be doing kind of a Q&A. So you've already heard Taylor and I talk about how we got into it, why we do it, costumes, how we choose costumes and things. So we wanted to pull on a guest to get their feedback on, why they do cons and things like that. And so I said, hey, Michael, you want to do this? And he was like, sure. So this is what we're doing.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. So Taylor, kick us off because you have some questions for Grumpy Uncle Mike here.
I do. Okay, so my first question is how did you get started with cosplay and going to cons? And I kind of already know that it started with Princess Bride. So how did it start for you?
Well, I went to a few cons in the early 2000s, but I didn't cosplay and I enjoyed it, but I didn't get back. Then in 2012, some friends of mine were putting together the Legion of Doom from the Super Friends cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
So they thought, who's the biggest idiot we can get who will wear a gorilla suit if we bribe him? And it was me. And it came out well at the time because I'd been having some financial issues. I had to fix my car. So I remember my friend Paul called me and said, you want to go to the con? I said, I'm broke. He said, we'll pay for your ticket if you wear a gorilla suit. I said, when did you need me there again? And so I was Gorilla Grodd. All we did was we rented a gorilla suit from Magic Incorporated in Fort Worth. Paul was Captain Cold. Chris was my friend Chris was Solomon Grundy. We had a Lex Luthor and a Giganta and a Bizarro.
Mm.
So the gorilla suit leads into what I was talking about earlier before we started. I got heat exhaustion from just sweating through the gorilla suit.
I was about ready to ask, but how hot was that suit?
Miserable hot. Now to this day, I know where every water fountain in the Irving Convention Center is from any other point in the building. I can get you to one within a few feet. I had a blast. We were very popular. We couldn't go more than 10 feet without getting stopped for pictures. The gorilla suit, I'm 6 foot, almost 6'4". The gorilla suit probably put me at around 6'10". My eyes looked out of the mouth. It was such a big head.
Oh.
And it was great, and we had fun. The gorilla suits, I remember lots of children being scared, which was not fun, but they got over it.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And we had a lot of fun. I met some very good friends of mine in line for you. You probably know Captain Ameridad.
Yeah, I've seen him. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Him and his son were in line behind us as Captain America and Thor. So we've been friends for 8 years ever since. And then another friend of mine, when I first saw him, I thought he was a basketball, and I thought that's an odd choice, but it's cosplay. He had shaved his head and painted himself orange and black like the Thing from the Fantastic Four.
Oh,
okay.
He was getting a photo with Stan Lee that day.
Mm.
He's also a friend. He's also those two. We met them in line, and we've been friends ever since. I've made other friends at that con in May 2012 when it was still Dallas Comic Con.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember them because literally Dan and his son David were right behind us in line, and I'll have to put a picture on my page of the picture taken of our group shot.
Ah.
When his son was like 8, so now he's 16, and we used to call him Little Man. Now I call him Medium Man. But that was a lot of fun. But it was also, just the heat. And a year later, they asked me if I wanted to do the gorilla suit again, and I'm not going to use the language I used to refuse their offer.
Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, but by then I'd gotten into volunteering, and they had told me that I was going to be working with William Shatner. So I was like, I will definitely work with William Shatner, even with all the potential I've heard about how bad he could be. But I had a good time. But I was like, and I got in for free. Got to get free autograph from Shatner, which was great.
Yeah,
nice.
But I did. They showed back up again in the same suits, and they had a Black Manta instead of Grodd, because nobody else wanted to wear the gorilla suit. I think I probably destroyed it just with my funk from the year before. But that was the first time I ever did a costume at a con, 2012, and then I got into the volunteering thing for a few years, so I didn't do a lot of cosplay. But I went to the cons because I was on the staff.
Right, and that actually leads me into another one of my questions, which I did know that you have volunteered and worked at some of the cons. So my question was, what is your favorite celebrity that you have ever worked with, and what is your least favorite one, if you want to divulge that?
I will divulge the favorite.
I knew you wouldn't divulge the least favorite.
No, I will say some of the celebrities I've met have been nicer than others, but worked with, all of my work experiences have pretty much been good. But I do have one that, again, it's not her fault that things went south, is the best way to put it. But my favorite one was in 2014 for Texas Frightmare Weekend. Part of their setup was they had Kristen Loken, who was the Terminator in Terminator 3, Robert Pattinson, the Terminator from Terminator 2, Earl Bowen, who played the psychiatrist, and they had Linda Hamilton.
I love Linda Hamilton.
I got to work with Linda Hamilton, and it was the most awesome experience I'd ever had, bar none. 6 years on, and it's still the most awesome one. I have said before, if I ever got an opportunity to work with her again, I would beg, steal, bribe, sacrifice to the dark arts. She was so awesome. The favorite thing I think that she did was, everybody, if you've ever gotten autographed, you'll see sometimes they'll go, okay, your name is Tayler, and they'll write a post-it note on the autograph to Tayler. She would get the person would come to her and she'd say, hi, what's your name? Every time. And I thought that was cool because, I mean, most of them were nice, but they'd look at it and go like, oh, well, hello, Tayler. But she would go like, oh, hello, I'm Linda, what's your name? And I'm sitting there just watching all this going, And I'm always very professional when I deal with the celebrities when I first meet them, Mr. or Mrs. whatever. She said, call me Linda, and all I could do was go, okay. Yes, Linda.
All right.
Yeah,
so
that was 3 awesome days.
Yeah.
They've all kind of gone downhill since, but
it happens.
But it was at Texas Frightmare Week in 2014, and she was far and away my favorite celebrity I've ever worked with, and I love her to death. She, at one point, she was outside taking a break, and she was holding my hand, and I was just like, 13-year-old me that had a crush on her was just like, don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything stupid.
The one who remembers the body in T2 was thinking, oh, sweet Lord.
Yeah. My autograph picture of her is a scene of her cleaning a rifle from that movie, and she's all ripped and looking harsh, and at least they didn't get a picture of her smoking, because I thought that would have been ugh.
Yeah.
I'm not a smoker, and I don't say people shouldn't smoke, but I think it's gross.
Yeah.
But she was awesome. She was awesome. I mean, at one point she called me Mikey, and I nearly fainted.
Well, I remember, Tayler, you'll remember this, and I can't tell you the year because all of the years are blending together, but a couple years ago when we got Carrie's autograph or picture with Carrie, and we were waiting in line, Carrie Ellis, we were waiting in line, and I was dressed in my Dread Pirate Roberts, and Tayler was in Inigo Montoya, and
I wish I'd seen y'all, because I was there as Fezzik one day.
I think so. Yeah,
I remember because, obviously I follow you, and so does Jennifer. I remember you posting your guys' picture with him later on, and I remember going, oh man, we missed Michael. Where was Michael?
Yeah.
I have two. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I've got 2 good stories about Carrie and another picture when you're done. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. But I was just gonna say, because when they're doing the pictures, they're trying to get through, as many people as they can get through and everything.
I've been that guy.
Yeah, and I remember, being second in line. It's like, oh my gosh, we're gonna meet him. And he had his sunglasses on, his aviator sunglasses on. He had his black leather jacket, cool looking as can be. And so when they called next, we're like, oh yeah, And so we walk over there, and he immediately just kind of like, oh my gosh, because we were early on in the line, and I think we were one of the few people that were dressed up in Princess Bride cosplay.
And at that time, because I know other people came after us.
Yeah. But he was like, oh my gosh, your costumes are awesome. And the photographer was kind of like, okay, go, you stand there, like trying to, hurry and get us on. And he just very politely, and the photographer wasn't trying to be rude or anything.
But they've got to turn and burn.
Yeah, just kind of put up, was like, hang on just a second. And he asked us what our names were. I was like, I'm Jennifer. And he shook our hands and shook Taylor's hands, like, oh, your guys' costumes are awesome. And then he just like plopped his arms around our shoulders, like, smile, it was like,
That was awesome. Yeah. I remember my friend David, who's my Inigo.
Mm-hmm.
He, for a guy who's obsessed with the Back to the Futures movies, like I'm obsessed with the Star Wars movies, he can't be on time to save his life. We arranged, I think it was Sunday of that con, to do Inigo and Pezzik and get our picture. First idea was to get our picture with Wallace Shawn, the Zini.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I can't use the appropriate language, but that idiot was late. The line was moving, and he comes running up. And I've been telling him for weeks, you have to be here by now.
Yeah.
You have to be here by this time. And then he's putting his boots on in line, and we're having to let people move past us to get our picture. And I'm going to get our picture, even if I have to pick him up and carry. And I have a messed up back. I shouldn't pick anyone up. So our whole idea was we all remember the scene where they first see them. So we recreated that. The photographer got him to shift a little bit over, and I got on my best face, and he made sure he had his hand on the sword just right. And we were awesome. He just thank you. He was very gracious, and we left. And I noticed the picture had a big old armpit sweat right here. But I was freaking out. I'm sitting there telling him, "I'm parking now, dude. I told you to be here." We were gonna casually walk to the photo op, not run our butts off.
You were driving me crazy with that. Like, we will be standing in line.
I was having a fit. There's no other way to describe it. I was contemplating hurting him.
We were standing in line. Like, was it last year, Jennifer? We were standing in line, or the year before, with the Stranger Things cast. And they've been hollering people for the Stranger Things photo op for like 10 minutes, and people are still like, they're like, this is the last call for Stranger Things. And you got people running up, and I'm like, dude, why are you so late to this photo op? Like, you should have.
Yeah, but the other story, earlier that day, my friend Evelyn, who does Buttercup, had contacted me and said, why don't me, David, my friend Tyler, who's doing Roberts, we split and get a picture with Carrie. So we said, oh yeah, I'll talk to David, you talk to Tyler, and so we all agreed on it. And while we're in line, we decided, since it was mine and Evelyn's idea, we're the ones that got to stand next to Carrie in the picture. And of course, Evelyn is a 5'11" beautiful Argentinian woman. Of course, he was happy to stand next to her. But while we were in line, there was a Wesley the pirate and a Buttercup in line ahead of us. We got to horsing around in line.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought it was a funny picture of the two Wesleys trying to make me move. So got one of them, Wesley's got his leg on his foot up on my thigh, and they both got my arms, and I'm just like stoically sitting there. They're straining. And in one of the pictures, you can see one of the volunteers coming into frame to tell us to quit horsing around. And he's a friend of mine, and he actually used the line, Michael, you should know better. And I said, well, if we'd been more crowded here, I would have. But yes, we will behave. And everybody's laughing because, and I'm still friends with the Wesley and the Buttercup, and we follow each other on Instagram. But it was just great because we just thought we got two Wesleys, we got a Fezzik. So the great picture, and the girls are kind of standing in the background. Inigo's looking kind of concerned. And in the background, here comes the volunteer Shadow going, I got to stop these idiots from being disruptive. Michael should know better. I can see all that on his expression. And they were having the fan expo staff that were working photo ops were having a bad weekend that went then anyway back.
Mm-hmm.
But it was great. I love that picture because he's just walking in there like, oh. he's irritated as hell, and we're all having a great time, and people were laughing, taking pictures. But it was good. Then we got our picture and everything's great, and we just hung out the rest of the day. And matter of fact, that day later, I changed into my Jane Cobb cosplay because me and another friend were getting our picture with Marina Baccarin.
Mm.
Nice.
That Confan Expo, I did 5 costumes.
Nice.
I am never doing that again. I'm never doing that again unless I have a room at the con. I did Jedi Knight. I did Old Biff. I did Jane. I did Fezzik. And I'm brain locking, but I know I did one more. No, I did Walter from The Big Lebowski.
Ah.
I think the most we've ever done is 2, and that's we only usually do 2 if we know that we're getting a picture with one of the people that are costumes. Like we were when you first met us, we were doing Marty and Doc, and then we were getting our picture taken with Tim Curry, and that's when we switched to Darkness and Dark Lily. But I agree, it is a pain in the ass to change costumes in the very small convention center bathrooms.
Well, I know people that let me use spots that I had more room, but I still had to.
Yeah.
I got a few, but not so much. But because I remember Saturday I showed up in the Jedi, and I tell David wanted me to wear his old 1985 Biff, or anyway, old Biff from 2015 actually. Didn't get anything to get the hair right, so my hair was still dark, but I had the rest of the costume together. And I said, I suggested to him I didn't want to change into it, and he just looked at me like I had slapped him and broken his heart at the same time. I feel so bad. So I changed into it. We got some pictures because he paid for some pictures of me in the DeLorean they had there.
Nice.
He even had the shoes. I think he found a purse that had the pattern he liked and skinned the purse to make the shoes.
Oh my gosh.
David McFly Cosplay Dallas. I'll give you. I'm sorry. I'll give you the link later. Make sure you have it. But his major thing is Back to the Future, but he does lots of other stuff. But he's McFly Dallas Cosplay or something like that. I'd have to give you the exact link, but he's great. Back to the Future is his favorite thing. Like Star Wars and Star Trek are my favorite sci-fi things. His are Back to the Future. And he's great. He's also again I refer to him as my cosplay husband because we've done so many duos together. And I'd have to sit and tick it off and get a piece of paper and write down, okay, the Blues Brothers, Inigo and Fezzik, Biff and Marty. And I could still keep going.
Yeah,
he calls me up and says, I'm going to make you a costume. I said, oh, again? Okay.
Jennifer, so it's you and me. Jennifer, make your costumes.
Yeah. Matter of fact,
she's gotten to the point where she's making some of her own costumes now, or she's buying them.
I bought some costumes. I bought them from that's because I'm such a big dude. Off the rack really doesn't work for me.
Right.
I mean, y'all have seen me in person. I'm huge. I mean, I'm almost 6'4". 260, 270, maybe more pounds. I don't want to get on a scale. And you've seen, I'm a bit, and I was like, yeah, that's not going to work. It's a 2X. No, it's not going to work now. So for some stuff, I have to get custom. Like I found this great Etsy seller who made me this great Jedi Knight suit, which I love it. As soon as things kind of stabilize, I'm going to buy her, get her to make me another one.
Mm-hmm.
But, I was like, off the cuff, nope, off the rack, nope.
I will say we do have one of my former students, Savan, is watching. He commented saying hello, so just want to shout out to him. He is big into Legos, but he loves doing cosplay too because he would come in and we would have discussions before class would start. So
awesome.
But yes, he's.
I'm gonna take this wig off.
He was the one kiddo who wanted to go back to school. He was like, "When are we gonna go back to school?" I'm like, "Nothing I can do about it." He was a super sweetie. So. But fun. So, okay, what other questions you got, Tayler?
All right.
I can bore you to tears. You get me going.
Well, you kind of already talked about it a little bit, but what is some of your favorite cosplays, and what is your least favorite one that you've done? So favorite and least favorite.
Well, I think the least favorite is probably the gorilla, right?
Yeah, the gorilla, just because of the sheer amount of discomfort.
We've been in those. Yeah, we've been in those.
And it was just the heat. The heat was what got me. Most of the other ones I've been lucky, have been pretty good. The shoes that my friend David made for the old Marty cosplay weren't very comfortable because I need a lot of arch support, and those shoes do not have a lot of arch support. If I was going to wear them again, I'd have to get some foot pads to wear them because they made my feet hurt pretty much a lot. The Jedi boots, before I put pads in them, but the Jedi can be kind of a pain in the butt because of all the flowing and stuff to catch on stuff. I was doing a charity event with a guy in a Mandalorian armor, and my flowing robes ripped part of his gauntlet off. We were just both of us shifting position to do a different picture for some kids we were doing, and I heard something snap, and I felt something bounce off my arm, and it had caught this thing on his gauntlet, on his right arm forearm, just popped it right off, and I said a few words that a Jedi aren't supposed to know, and he looked at it and said, "Easy fix, no big deal."
Well, it depends on which Jedi, because if you're Anakin, I'm sure Anakin knows those words, but
Oh yeah, well, I always go with, since I don't really look like any of the main characters. I mean, I'm tall like Liam Neeson, but as Qui-Gon, but my hair's not long enough. Yeah. And I could grow a beard, but I'm not like a super particular one. But I sometimes joke that I'm Obi-Wan if he'd gone into exile someplace with good food. Because
the galaxy.
The cuisine on Tatooine was not good. So I sometimes say I'm fat Obi-Wan, even though I don't really like using that word. But I say I'm Obi-Wan if he'd retired somewhere with good food. If I know it's coming, I'll grow the full beard out of it, even though my beard is not as magnificent as Ewan McGregor's or Alec McGuinness's. I'll grow the full beard instead of just keeping this, or I'll just keep it short like this and say I'm Obi-Wan. Of course, my hair is too dark, and I think I'm like Ewan McGregor's not short, but I'm just tall.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor, I think it's like about 5. I think it's about like 5'10". I think
5'10", 5'11". I think,
yeah.
But I do sometimes I go say I've been called everything under the book. Some of the charity events I do, you have little kids that don't know who you are. They just call me "Hello, Star Wars."
Yeah.
I did one where twice somebody asked me if I was doing Mace Windu, and I thought, are they messing with me? Or is that just the first name they thought of? And I'm not saying by any means a person that looks like me can't do Mace Windu, but you got to have a purple lightsaber.
Yes.
And you got to have, either bald or really short hair.
Yeah.
You got those two elements. You can't be Mace Windu with anything but a purple lightsaber. And if you got us to be a long-haired hippie Mace Windu, I would kind of go, Argh.
No.
But you got to have the purple lightsaber, and at the very least, like my hair is right on the borderline of too long to say I'm doing Mace Windu. That's just me personally.
Yeah, no, I think
you can do a long hair
is the key there. It's got to be purple, because otherwise you're just like another Jedi.
You're just generic Jedi. That's the joke. Is I'm Jedi number 3. I say my line would be, Obi-Wan, I have a bad feeling about this. Then I die, so everybody knows that it's a serious situation.
Something was really wrong.
You are a red shirt
Jedi.
I do have, and one of my under tunics for my Jedi is kind of a rust color that comes off as red. So
You're the red shirt. You're the red shirt Jedi.
Yeah, I die, so everybody knows it's a serious threat. But my favorite, some of my other favorite, the gorilla suit, least favorite just for the discomfort, but the fun was great. Walter Sobchak from The Big Lebowski has been a big hit just because people love that movie. Yep. And when I have a dude to hang out with, I have 3 friends that do the dudes, so we just have to make sure we coordinate.
Mm-hmm.
The Jedi are always fun, even though they're, big con. You swing a stick and you're going to hit 3 Jedi. I still love being a Jedi. Yeah. Dad Bod Thor, as I called him. I actually won a contest as the only time I've ever done Dad Bod Thor. Best performance. So I should probably add it to my page. Award-winning cosplayer.
You should. That's
completely legit. Completely legit. And they gave me some money, and I went and bought something from one of my friends who's a vendor.
Yeah. Well, I was like, I could say I'm a professional track athlete because I went to a professional meet and got paid to be there. So yeah, that was going on, you know.
Well, we could say that we're professional cosplayers because somebody did give us money one time when we were at a cosplay event. That was actually the first time that had ever happened. A lady posed with us when we were Jareth and Sarah, the Goblin King and Sarah, and she gave us like $5, and we're like, no, you don't. And she's like, no, it's good. You need to take it. And we're like,
yeah.
okay.
Awkward moment.
I've had some of the people that are quote unquote professional cosplayers say they expect tips, and I'm like, no.
No, like that was the only time and first time.
I'm not, I'm not but that's neither. And another favorite, Dad Bod Thor was a big hit. Walter, Fezzik and Indigo was great. The first time I ever wore it, we went to see a screening of The Princess Bride here in Arlington. We had Fezzik, Indigo, Buttercup, Wesley, Count Rugen, and we had an ROUS. Buttercup, that's when I found out my friend who was Buttercup had a granddaughter.
Oh.
And we're still buddies. She likes doing the dress up thing too. I think she's 6 now. She would have been about 2.5 when we met. I was like, I didn't know you had a grandchild.
We could have been using her this whole time.
Buttercup's baby. It's the sequel.
Yeah, Buttercup's grandbaby. And that was fun. We saw that movie, and backstory was that was like 2 maybe weeks, maybe a month after I'd spent almost a week in hospital. Oh. So that was fun. Then we went, as just an aside, David Inigo picked me up and we drove to see Princess Bride. But then Rugen and Wesley wanted to go see Deadpool. So we went and saw Deadpool. David went home, and then I got a ride home from them, and we were stripped down most of our costume, and then we watched Deadpool. That was fun. But then a few months later at Arlington, David suggested we do Inigo and Fezzik again. So I thought that'd be great. And the moment that happened that hooked me on cosplay was David was talking to a vendor 3 or 4 tables down from us, and I was talking to a artist friend. This little kid comes up to me, about 12 years old. He's all excited. Excuse me, sir. Are you Fezzik from The Princess Bride? And, I'm not a great big actor being character, but I decided to play it up. I said, why, yes. Can I take your picture, please? And I said, would you like a picture with my Spaniard, too? And his eyes just bugged out. He just lit up. He said, yes, please. So I did my best Fezzik voice, and I yelled, here you go! Here you go! And I see David. Come here! We have a photo op! And he comes up, and the little guy's excited. I ask him if he wants to get a picture with us. No, he's happy just to get a picture of us. So, but I was like, that's cool. I mean, I'd enjoyed it before, but this is really the first time, probably the first time since I did the gorilla suit about 4 years before, that I'd been doing any kind of cosplay, because I'd been working or just visiting the shows. And then ever since then, I've cosplayed at least once every time I've been. And most of the time, like a lot of people, I plan, okay, if it's a 3-day show, I'm going to do these 3. Or if it's a 2-day show, I'm going to do these 2. Or like sometimes I'll do just one, because like I love the North Texas comic book shows, which recently went away, but the Sunday shows had gotten so slow I didn't cosplay at them anymore. But Saturdays were fun. But that was fun. Got to do all that, and then some other fun ones. I mean, they've all been fun. I was going to debut 2 new ones at Fan Expo this year, but we all saw how that went.
Yeah.
Well, when we pretty much plan, like we have a spreadsheet that we keep track of all of our costumes, because every year we seem to come up with, oh, we should do this. And so I think we had at least costumes slated through 2021. We had the next year's costumes planned, and so now everything's gotten pushed back, because we were planning to debut 3 new costumes this year. But that's
one of mine was this first time I've ever done it specifically for a guest at the show. I planned it ahead. I bought it ahead. I was going to do a John Cleese Monty Python character.
Oh.
And me and a friend were going to split a photo with John. And I don't know what I don't know what her cosplay plans were, but I was going to do my version of that costume. To get my picture with him, even if I didn't care if nobody got the joke. I was going to be that character in a picture with John Cleese.
Yep.
And thank you, coronavirus.
Well, we were planning because Tayler planned on doing the Hobbits, the 4 Hobbits. And I was kind of waiting to see who else, I was going to come or whatever. But one of our costumes we had planned actually, which it bumped a costume that we had originally planned last year after con, because after cons we always plan, okay, what do we do next year? And it's Cousin Edge.
That box door's coming.
Yeah, I can't find the beard.
Yeah. And then we saw this movie was coming out. We're like, oh my gosh, we need to do these 2 characters before this new movie comes out. We'll be ahead of the game, because we knew as soon as it came out, it's kind of like doing like a Marvel movie. As soon as a Marvel movie or something comes out, everyone comes out of the Word of Work to do that cosplay.
Oh yeah.
We were thinking like in reverse, and now we're like, man, we can't do it now.
But we can. It's just not going to be as fun.
It won't be as fun. We'll probably still do it. I don't know. I didn't want to say anything on whether or not we should spill the beans on what it was, but yeah. Tayler.
Yeah, one of my laziest cosplays ever was, I got a friend of mine, because I have atrocious handwriting in real life. I got a name badge that said, "Hello, my name is," and I got him to write, "Hello, my name is John Jones." And fortunately, there was it was at an Arlington Con in 2017. Yeah, so 2017. And I went up, I was hoping to find a lot of Supergirls. I think there were 2.
Oh, wow.
And I walked up to them and I started giving them grief, and they looked at me funny, and I said, then they went, "Oh, sorry, John." And a couple of them, it was just funny. Just because that was the day I look forward to Arlington Con all year. And again, thank you, COVID-19, for skunking that one again this year.
Yeah.
I woke up and I developed a migraine, so I almost didn't make it. And I was too wiped out to do even a simple cosplay. So I just put on a Hawaiian shirt, put on a straw fedora style hat I had, and had the name badge. Got my friend to write it for me, and I was like, "I'm John Jones. I'm a martyr." I got a picture of a friend of mine with Wonder Woman, like she's punching me and I'm catching it, and look confused because I shouldn't be able to do this, but the John Jones can do that to Wonder Woman. They would arm wrestle to a standstill. At least so I've always seen, or it would be a hell of a fight. So I explained to her, because she doesn't know, and I was like, "Yeah, the Martian character can fight Wonder Woman and have a pretty good chance to win."
Well, I remember the first, because we started, I did my first con without Tayler after I moved down here to Texas in 2013, and my 2 cousins wanted to go, and that's when Dallas Comic Con was still at Irving, the Irving Convention Center. And
we might have crossed paths at that one.
It's possible. I just kind of just threw on a dress. Like, I'm just gonna go as just some character, whatever. Because I'd never experienced it. I'd always wanted to go, and just had a good old time. And then the next year I got home, I was like, "Tayler, you've got to come down with me. You got to do this with me." So we went. First time she came down was
my laziest cosplay. I was Jane from Firefly.
Yeah.
That was my laziest.
We went to the fan days in October.
Yep.
And we kind of just introduced her, and then after that we're like, okay, yeah, we're planning that for this. So then from then on, we've been the three solid days. We have our costumes planned, and I know the first time we did Goblin King and Sarah. We were because we always try to pick, and we've talked about this before. We always try to pick costumes which the diehard fans, especially the '80s, will recognize. But we don't see a lot because you always see, Batman and the Marvel and superheroes. And
Jedi Knight.
Jedi Knight, so we just tried to
do it again.
and so we ended up doing Goblin King and Sarah, and we had so many people. Like the first 10 minutes we were there, everyone was coming up saying, "Can we have your picture? We've never seen Labyrinth done at a con." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to be careful, next time." And we barely got through. Like we literally were just there the whole day taking pictures because everyone was like, "We've never seen it." We're like, "Wow, we did not expect that."
Well, if you hadn't told me when I ran into you as Darkness and Lily, I would have known I'd met you before.
I know. I remember the look on your face when I went, "Hi, Michael," and you went, "What?" And I was like, "You met us earlier. It's Marty and Doc."
I kind of got used to that happening because when it was a staff, you'd have a badge that said, sometimes they would have at least your first name or your last name, and people would go, you see somebody come up to you and they go, oh, hello, Mike. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, I've got, it's right here. But this was not because I was, free. Yeah, it's because that happens to me. I hate that. I run into people who they know me and I have no idea who they are. Somebody I ran into, she's got thick black hair. I think she's Hispanic, but she's got that thick, beautiful black Hispanic hair. But she had on a blonde wig, and my brain just went, nope. She's talking to me, and I'm just like, I have no idea who this is. I feel bad. She was doing a Wizard of Oz group. She was Glinda.
Ah.
Beautiful blonde wig, beautiful olive skin, and but my brain was just going. She said her name, and I went, man, I feel so dumb.
Well, I always tell my kids, because I inherited my dad was a teacher too, and he always had a hard time remembering his students' names. Students could give him their phone number and he'd know that because he was much better with numbers. But I always tell my students, like, the first 6 weeks is like, sit in the exact same spot, keep telling me your name. Eventually I'll get it. I'm just really bad at names. So I kind of have that same experience. She was like, I know that person. Yeah. What is that person's name? And I'll just be sitting here like, hi, please just casually mention your name.
Yeah.
With the cosplayers, you get into wigs, makeup, helmets. As a guy, I knew him for about a year and a half solid. I'd bump into him at cons, and he has a lot of Rebel Legion 501st costumes with buckets or helmets.
Mm-hmm.
Come up to me, hey, how's it going? Don't know. I know 2 people that have stormtrooper outfits that I can identify because they're both 5'0". And I always know, and I can kind of tell one of them has kind of wider hips than the other one. I have to kind of sit and look, but then I can tell who's who. But everybody else is like Republic Commando. I don't know. And some people have more specific ones, but he doesn't. So I got a chance to where somebody gave me a Deadpool mask. I put on a red shirt and I threw it together. I said I was Deadpool, even though all I had on was a red shirt, black suspenders, black pants, and a mask. I said I was Deadpool. At the Marvelous New Year's Eve, I wore that, and I was great. People not recognizing me. And I was atrocious. I would not have put up with my behavior from someone else. I found one of my buddies. I went up, put my arm around him, started touching his beard like this. I said, "I bet you want to know who the hell this is." You're damn right. Which, if he had known, once he knew it was me, but then I realized how kind of inappropriate I was. I didn't physically touch that many. Actually, he might have been the only one I got that up close and personal with. And but it was like this, and I didn't do it to any women for sure. I mean, I talked to them, but this was because that's just, that's not how you act unless like one person knew who I was. So I messed with her for the whole time. But but I remember it was just great seeing people. Then I'd forget I had a mask on and I'd smile at people. I'd say, hey, and they'd look at me like, I don't know who that is. Because even though I'm all real big, tall guy, I've got a mask on, muffling my voice a little bit. But it was fun. That was fun. There was a little girl who was dressed as little episode 4 Princess Leia, who apparently was fast on my door. We got great pictures of me and her just sitting there talking to each other. People just walking by, taking pictures. And little Princess Leia with the little buns.
Yeah.
Gigantic Deadpool. And we're just talking and hanging out. And she just, I don't know what she, I don't have a, oh.
So this is my buddy. So Vaughn, we have seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cosplays.
Oh yeah, I know a guy who does a really good Raphael.
Well, see, and I remember, and it's been a couple years, but I think one of our earliest cons, Tayler, all 4 of them were there, and they were like from like the early 90s, whenever the first movie came out. I mean, they were really good costumes, and I don't know if they were professionally done or not, but I haven't seen them since. And I've seen kind of knockoff.
Turtle Power.
Yeah. Is it Turtle Power?
I think they were called Turtle Power Entertainment, and I remember a group. I think it's from that same con. They had a couple of Aprils, some Foot Clan, a Shredder. Okay. I remember that because I don't know if this guy I'm thinking of who did Raphael was part of that group. It's been a while, but yeah, those were fun. And April O'Neil's always a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's pretty easy. Just put on a yellow jumpsuit and you're done.
Savon says Ralph is cool. I think that's probably his favorite. Like I said, Savon likes his ninjas, so he would be all for.
Leonardo was my jam. I have to say, Like, I love Leonardo. I had an active imagination when I was a child. This is before I met Jennifer. I grew up on a farm. I would take 2 sticks and act like they were swords, and I'd be out, like, pretending I was Leonardo. My sister loved Donatello, so.
I was always partial to Michelangelo. And he was my favorite of the Turtles. But I liked all of them. I remember seeing the movies and enjoying them, watching the cartoon. Some of the movies did get progressively worse, but that's just what happens with sequels.
Yeah.
Generally.
Well, see, I was a Leonardo fan because in first grade I went as Leonardo, and my mom made me a Halloween costume. Savon has a question here about which version of the Turtles. I'm assuming which version is better.
Leo is the best out of all. I agree with you, Savon, 100%. He is the best out of them all.
I think they're all great. But
I prefer the 90s version of the Turtles. I think that's, the one that I grew up with. The ones, I don't know, I just think the CGI ones that they have nowadays are kind of creepy.
I kind of like Turtles.
I kind of like what they were shooting for, but they missed the mark.
Yeah, I would have to say that totally.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movies. There are only so many nerd hours in the nerd day.
That is true. I haven't seen the new ones. I've seen the old ones, not the new ones.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I've seen the first new one, and it wasn't that good.
Yeah. I remember getting home, trying to get home. If I got home in time, I had time to have a snack and take care of any kind of other business. Then I could watch an hour of G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Ninja Turtles. I can't remember the order, but if it timed it just right, I'd have time to, get a glass of milk or a snack and then watch an hour and a half of shows before it's time to start doing homework and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Ninja Turtles was in the rotation for a while, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Voltron. Never got into Professor Gadget or Inspector Gadget though.
Inspector Gadget. I used to watch
a little bit, yeah.
Well, see, I was big into Carmen Sandiego, and that was largely because I had the game, the 3.5-inch floppy game, which I still have. Mm-hmm. By the way, because I knew every single country. It was like I knew that almanac that came with the book, like front and back. I didn't need to look up the flags of the countries. I had it down.
I would do that, and Oregon Trail. I would play Oregon Trail a lot. Remember in the classroom,
who could die. That was.
Yeah. You have dysentery.
Yeah, my friend Diane does a really good Carmen Sandiego, and David, my friend McFly Cosplay. He won a contest last year for his Inspector Gadget.
Nice.
He even has the helicopter helmet harness.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
See, I did Carmen Sandiego when I worked at the detention facility. We had a Halloween party for the kids, and I did Carmen Sandiego for them. And like very few people actually knew who I was. Like they knew, like they were like, oh, but they could not remember who I was.
Yeah, which is sad.
Just sad.
Yeah, it's fun to do that. It's always fun to see somebody. Like I remember at a con I went to in Austin. There's a guy who was excited that I knew. I was the only person at that con that knew who he was from Alpha Flight from Marvel. He was North Star, and I just happened to remember the character. And I said to him, "Are you North Star?" He said, "Yes." I'm so happy somebody knows who I am. And I was like, "Cool." Got a picture with him. He was cool. And sometimes, and then other times, I've said, especially at the anime cons, I'll say, I have no idea who you are. Can I get your picture?
We ran into that when we did Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies, and I was the zombie. Nobody knew who the heck we were, but everybody wanted their picture with me because my makeup looked cool.
Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite cosplays, it's also for comfort, was you've both seen Shaun of the Dead, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Ed. And I love Ed because I cannot shave for a week or two. Well, I went to Texas Frightmare Weekend in 2018. I had a clean version of Ed for Friday, and on Saturday I had a bloody version. 2 different shirts. And I was actually getting kind of bummed on Saturday because it's a horror convention. There's a third of the cosplayers that have bloody shirts on. Nobody was making the connection, even though I had a shovel. literally, I mean, a few people did, but I was really getting discouraged. So I'm walking past. I decide I'm going to go visit a friend of mine who's got a booth for a few minutes. I get there. He's busy. So I decide I'm going to keep on moving. I see a guy coming back this way. I'm going this way. He's coming back this way. And it's Sean. And I started hollering his name. And he looks around. And then I said, "Where have you been? I've been looking for you." And he took me he looked me up and took him a second to register. And then he and I, for the rest of the day, and his wife as our tag along. The rest of the day, everybody knew who we were. Of course, if they saw him and didn't see me, I interjected, "No love for Ed Wood." And it was great. So I found out if you're not going to be Robin, and you can't be the second fiddle without the main guy.
Yeah.
So I was second fiddle. I knew I was being second fiddle. But from now on, I'm not going to be Ed without Sean. Of course, we talked about doing that again this year at Texas Frightmare, but we all know what happened. Yes. The year before last, it would have worked. It didn't work out either, but we're still in touch. And I would love, because he looks like Simon Pegg. We look enough like the characters that it works. I mean, he even has like even has the same color hair for real that Simon Pegg had in that movie. But it was great. Once people connected, and there was another Sean there too, but I was the only Ed. But I still remember I was getting down in the dumps and thinking, I'm just going to go put on a different shirt. Nobody knows I'm Ed. And I saw Sean and everything. The next 4 or 5 hours were awesome. We hung out the rest of the day, and we hung out the next day, and we still, occasionally, we're still in touch, basically.
Yeah. It's always fun. It's always fun when you do it with somebody, though. That's why Jennifer and I love doing pair costumes, because I think it just makes it more fun. And I think it automatically makes that connect. Oh my gosh, there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoy doing with a group, but when I go off on a tear because I want to see and do everything. Mm-hmm. Not many people keep up with me very well. But I like it. I do like it, because it took me I've only really been cosplaying for about 3 years now, consistently. Maybe close to about 4 years now. But I've been consistently multiple times a year now. So I'm involved with some charity groups that do cosplay stuff. I mean, we talked about that a little bit earlier, Jennifer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of fun too. But I enjoy it. Yeah, my favorite part though is when somebody sees your costume and lights up at ooh. And they're excited that you're Biff or that you're Darkness or Fezzik. That kid getting so excited about Fezzik. Yeah. I should have taken this picture just to keep. But that would have been
the first time we experienced that is when the first year that I dressed as my Snow White and Jennifer was Cinderella, and we just gotten our picture taken with George Takei, and we were walking out of the convention, the main arena, so we could put our picture away, and all of a sudden I heard this scream, "Snow White!" And I turned around, and there was these 2 little girls. Their mom was running with them in a stroller. And they so desperately wanted a picture with Snow White. And I'm like, oh, that is so cute.
Yeah. I have 2 fun ones I like from that. First time, my Jedi costume has evolved over the years. I started when it was mostly, we like Mike, we're going to buy it, but he's being a Jedi because he's got a lightsaber too, and actually some pretty good costumes. Mm-hmm. I was walking out of the dealer room at one of the small shows in Richardson, and I felt somebody reach out, and they pinched my butt. And I immediately stood up, I straightened up, and I'm about to turn around to see who it was and say, "Listen, I don't care who you are. That's not appropriate." Turn around, it's just some little kid who was excited that he saw the Jedi, and that was all he could get because apparently he couldn't get. He was chasing me. He was chasing me because apparently his parents wouldn't let him, because his parents had one of the booths. Yeah. And he could get but I was all set to turn around and give somebody a lecture on cosplay is not consent.
Well, that's what we always bend down. We will bend down so we can be on the kids' level so they can take a picture. That is difficult in that costume, I will tell you, because Snow White is a corset and you cannot really bend well in.
You don't bend well, no.
No, so
Yeah,
you know, you're kind of doing the end down.
That and hoop skirts.
That and
Yeah,
Sarah is a difficult costume, I will say, because I will literally be walking through the aisles of Sarah and whacking into poor vendor stuff, like going, sorry.
Yeah, a friend of mine does a Snow White, and I was so impressed by how much she had. The corset had her on display. I had trouble concentrating.
Yeah.
I try, like, that is my concern in that costume as well. That's why I specifically asked Jennifer to help me make sure that part of the cape was covering that area, because I am very self-conscious about that area. So
Yeah, it's like I've been getting teased last year at Fan Days. Have you seen have you ever seen the picture of the guy, the boom mic guy from the original Star Wars?
yes,
He's
and
got
I saw
bright
you
pink
do.
shorts.
I saw Pink Short Guy, and I've seen you do Pink Short Guy. Yes.
I am not there's actually a 501st qualification for that, but I said there's no way I'm taking my shirt off. I don't care.
Right?
Nobody deserves to see me without my shirt on. So I'm going to wear, and I don't want to be an official pink boom mic guy. I just like it that it's good enough that people got the joke at the show. Like I went every chance I got a picture with the Rebel Legion, the 501st, and I'm sure some of them got sick of seeing me. But it was fun because people would ask me who it was, so I'd turn around and do the pose, and then they got it. And I found this Golden Girls T-shirt that was bright pink. So I bought it to wear it because I was originally thinking I might get one that was brown because in the original picture the dude is almost sunburned. He's so dark.
Yeah.
That guy died recently.
Yeah,
he
he did. I saw your post. Yeah.
He was like 90 some. But that was fun because people got the joke. I mean, my boom mic was a paintbrush with some duct tape wrapped around the end, but that's the whole idea because I had to kind of throw it together kind of quickly. I'd been talking about it for a while, and I was going to originally do it with a cute female friend of mine. And I said, nobody's going to pay attention to me with you in those cute booty shorts, so I can just do whatever I want. But her plans fell through, and I just did it myself. But another good, Fred Flintstone, my Fred Flintstone. I love Fred. When people get Fred at the same fan expo or fan days last year, Saturday was the pink boom mic guy, and Sunday was Fred. And I remember I was walking, having a good time. I walked past this group of 8 or 10 teen girls, and some of them were anime characters. And I'm thinking, I don't know who these are, but all of a sudden I walk past her and go, "Oh, look, it's Fred Flintstone." And I went, "How do these younglings know who I am?" They were excited because it was one of the young girls' birthday, and apparently she really liked Fred Flintstone. And she hadn't seen me, so they took this picture, like 13 teenage girls around 13 to 14 with Fred Flintstone.
That happened to us when we were doing Savant's asking if anybody has ever cosplayed a nurse. I'm not sure if anybody's ever cosplayed Nurse Savant. I've never seen one.
Well, the only
I've seen lots of nurses.
Yeah, the only nurse I've seen that's really been popular was Joker's nurse when he died. So I've seen a couple Jokers dressed up as the nurse.
I have a friend who does Nurse Chapel from the original Star Trek.
Nice.
And matter of fact, met her last year, and we got a great picture. I'm in my Jedi Knight. She's got her medical tricorder. She's like, she's pointing it at me like she's giving me a physical. But there are nurses, all kinds of nurses, but the Nurse Joker, and again, she was in the blue, so she's in Star Trek. She's science,
medical,
and
science.
She had a medical. She said she was medical, and she's Christine Chapel, and she had on a blonde wig. The normal hair is a bit darker, and I thought it was great. Love her to death.
So what was I saying? We had that happen to us with the year that we went, the three of us, that we were the Wizard of Oz, and there was the cheerleading competition was happening there at the same place, and some girls saw us as the Wizard of Oz and freaked out and were just wanted their picture, and there were just groups of them. And then one lady wanted our picture with her dog. She had her service dog, so we took a picture with her service dog.
It's exciting what I was doing a charity event last year with Heroic and her kids, and I was in my Jedi Knight, and they had some of the local teenage pageant queens there too. One of them had brought her baton. She got some pictures of me. We're fighting with my saber, and she's got her baton. I didn't realize she was one of the guests, and we got to chit chat. And I mean, these are a bunch of 15, 20-year-old girls, so I'm just chatting it up because a couple of them were Star Wars nuts.
Nice.
And we had a lot. I just remember I was sitting there, just standing there, and people. I'd had a run where 3 or 4 or 5, 6 people wanted pictures, like boom, boom, boom. So I didn't move. All of a sudden, she was, I want to fight you, and I said, okay, let's go.
Okay.
Not for real, even though my saber is for combat. I'm not going to swing it around because all the kids run around and the grown ups.
I got one of those, that Jennifer borrowed last year when she did Ray. It's one of those. It's like a real heavy one that doesn't retract. So
no, mine. I have Ultra Sabers and Saber Forges, and they're designed for grown ups to be dueling with each other, but not when you have a bunch of people around, because it still hurts. Because I've been whacked with them. They sting.
Mine's Luke's, actually. Mine is, Luke's version of it, which fit for Ray because, at one point she does have Luke.
Right.
So, it is definitely, mine is not like full on you can deal with it. It's definitely hard enough that you whack somebody with it.
All of mine are dueling sabers, and I think I even have at least one. I have the heaviest blade that's not as bright, but it's designed for impact. So those are fun. Those are fun. I used to have a buddy who we were going to learn a routine and do it at a show coming up, but then he got serious with his girlfriend and said no. I was like, oh, come on, man. You can spare a couple hours on Saturday every other week to learn a routine. Now I got to spend all my time with my girlfriend. I'm only a little bitter.
Well, I remember, and it was a couple of years ago when we did our Princess Bride, because some guy was doing a video for Fan Expo.
Yeah.
We were in line for something. I don't remember. It was one of the big panels because it was in the arena, and so we were on the ramp in line, and he asked us if we could put together a fight scene. So we were like, okay, so we were like, okay, I'll do this. You do this. So we just threw together a quick 30-second fight, and he was doing close up, I'm
he's like, okay, no, you do a close up, now you, and we're like, yeah, okay, sure, no clue.
Christmas 2018. My friend David saw a thing at a synagogue in Dallas. They were showing the Princess Bride, so he and I bought tickets and went to see the Princess Bride as Inigo and Fezzik at the synagogue. And that was surreal because we showed up and getting in costume. Apparently there'd been some disturbance. They had an armed security officer with an assault rifle. He wasn't brandishing it, but he had it on his back. He walked up to us and wanted to know what we were doing. And of the two of us, I'm the more talky and social. So I said, we're here to see the Princess Bride. I'm Fezzik and this is Inigo. And he did not trust us at all. We got in, we were a big hit because we were the only people there in costume, crowd of about 40 people.
Yeah.
And they even asked us to do a little fight, and they gave me a sword, and I went, I don't need weapons. I'm the great Fezzik. And we kind of did a little thing.
He never had a sword.
Right, I just went, And then, I just took advantage of it. My friend David is about 5'7", I'm 6'3", 6'4", so I'm still not quite tall enough, but I'm still bigger than him. So we just took advantage. I'm much bigger. He's quicker. I'm bigger. But it was fun. I wish we kept better track of the contact information with the rabbis involved, because I trusted David to keep track of it, and he lost it. So
usually we get the cards and I'll take a picture of the card and Jennifer keeps the cards. That's why honestly we got Cosplay.
I should have.
So many people were asking us, do you have a handle or whatever? And we're like, no.
Yeah, well,
that's why we got the cards and stuff like that. So that way we can handle people and be like, tag us, please.
Yeah, that's why I did the Grumpy Uncle on Facebook just a few months ago. And then, of course, I was planning. I was finally, because you both seen my Facebook feed. You know where I go. It's not just cosplay. I wanted something that was just cosplay, just fun. And then it took a while. I finally came up with Grumpy Uncle Cosplay because, well, I'm an uncle, I cosplay, and I'm grumpy.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've ever talked about how we got cosplay, have we?
I don't think we've ever given the history of the thing. No.
So
it was either that or Fat Jedi cosplay, and I got outvoted.
We actually, when we met in junior high, Twister, the movie, had come out. Bill Paxton, Helen Hunt, and we freaking loved Twister. We can literally quote Twister word for word.
Oh, and we should mention we grew up in Tornado Alley in Central Kansas.
So that's why we loved it. And the scene that always cracked us up is when they're driving on the bridge and there's the water and the Twisters come up through the water, and then you see one cow go by, and then the other cow go by, and the woman on the phone goes, "I gotta go. We got cows." So we got cows.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, I've often joked that Captain Ameridad and I, we've talked about for about 4 years doing a duo cosplay. We've never managed to pull it off for one reason or another. And the joke is, you've probably seen some of my tags on him. We have the toxic bromance.
Yes.
So if we did the duo, we would call ourselves Toxic Bromance Cosplay.
Nice.
Because we've talked about it, we've even gotten to the point of planning it, but one thing or another has come up that we couldn't do it. But we've talked about it. We've even got a few in mind. It's just we got to fix this. This pandemic's got to go away.
Yeah.
And then maybe in 2021, after we can finally do a cosplay together. Even if nothing else, if he gets on his black suit, I got on my black suit, we'll all have a bunch of Blues Brothers. Mm-hmm. I'll be Elwood. I'm either, depending on if we have an Elwood, I can shift into Mac because I kind of look like John Goodman.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I've also joked because I've done Fred Flintstone, Walter Sobchak, and Mac.
You're a professional John Goodman cosplayer.
Yeah. I have joked that I am North Texas' premier John Goodman cosplayer.
There you go.
Because I don't know anybody else that does more than one character of his. Because I know I've seen Fred's, and I've seen Walter's. I've seen, but I was like, I'm the only one that's doing all three. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek because I'm not trying to be a professional or well-known cosplayer. I just wanted to do the cosplay page to be just a fun page.
Mm-hmm.
Because you both know that you both probably have seen what a social justice person I am and stuff.
Same.
So, yeah. So I wanted to so that's why I need to revisit Grumpy Uncle and put some more content up just to get more stuff out there. Mm-hmm. Just for fun. I want to get to 150. I think I'm at 141. Okay. Maybe this will give me the 9 more I need.
There you go. Who knows?
That'd be fun. But yeah, I know I kind of devolved into it, but I've enjoyed it ever since I started doing it. It's been fun. I'm never doing that gorilla suit again, ever.
Yeah. There's always that one process, like Darkness and Dark Lily. We enjoy doing it because it is such a spectacle. It's a great costume, but on Jennifer's end, it is so painful for her. So it's
mainly the shoes. I got to redo the shoes and redo my platforms. And the horns actually are lightweight and not too bad. I mean, I always have to dip down when I'm going under doors. But the horns themselves aren't bad. The body isn't super bad. It's a little hot, but it's not too bad.
The red makeup is difficult to come off, though.
Yeah, I got to find a new way to do the red makeup for sure.
Yeah, I haven't done any really makeup yet. I mean, sometimes when I do a Jedi, I get somebody to help me paint facial tattoos on, because there's one particular Jedi I like that his people, they get tattoos like this, just a bar, different depending on where they're from on their home planet. Shows where the color is. But I just get to do that so I can, and just for a kind of a nod to make I'm not quite just generic Jedi. I'm generic Kafar Jedi.
Yes.
So, because again, he's another one. I don't look anything like him because that character is usually drawn with big wild hair, dreads, and usually when I've seen him as actors, he's like a Middle Eastern or Hispanic dark skin guy. And I mean, saying I can't do that, but I don't look like it.
Right, and I think but that's the best part about cosplay is you can do your own interpretation of whatever the costume is. You don't have to look Exactly.
Yeah.
You just got to have a few elements, like the purple lightsaber we mentioned earlier. You
Yeah.
can't say you're Mace Windu with a green lightsaber.
No.
You can't, and I can't really. Couldn't really say I'm being Anakin with the green one because he used the green one for 10 minutes in Attack of the Clones. No.
You'd have to be Luke, or you would have Luke is
or Qui-Gon or just background one.
Yeah.
But I remember years ago, I have a friend who, one of the people I met at my first con where I did the gorilla suit, very heavy lady, does her version of Wonder Woman. Somebody I knew, friend of somebody I knew, who she was in the background of the picture, started to go off on her in the comments. I went off on her preemptively. I said, "You don't say a damn thing about that person. You don't like the way she looks, keep it to yourself."
Yeah.
Because she's a bigger lady, but she does the version of Wonder Woman she did, she was comfortable with her, but it was still obviously Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But I was like, I told her, if you wanted to do a bikini Wonder Woman, I'd support you. And she said, "But Michael, that's because you're a gentleman pervert." And I said, "Well, yes."
But I mean, it's whatever the person feels comfortable doing. Like we were talking about doing one of the cosplays that we may not do is Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
And I said that if I'm going to do Rocky Horror, I'm going to do Dr. Frankenfurter because I think that that's the most amazing costume. Is that the most skin I have ever exposed? Yes. But I would be comfortable doing it. So it's whatever the person feels comfortable in. It's somebody else's business.
Like I said, I'm not taking my shirt off for the pink boom mic guy.
Yeah. It's whatever they feel comfortable doing. It's nobody's business but the person doing the cosplay.
And if you don't want to show any skin, you can be a stormtrooper because Savon asked about stormtrooper. There you go. If you want no skin whatsoever, be a stormtrooper.
Clone trooper.
Yeah, Savon, there are tons of stormtroopers. There is the Legion, the 501st Legion. They are huge, and they do tons of stormtrooper stuff. So you should, I'm sure Michael.
Stormtroopers, snow troopers, biker troopers, clone troopers. I can rattle off.
I've seen a Deadpool trooper one time.
Yeah, I've seen a Deadpool trooper. I know people. I mean, I can't guarantee their appearance, but I can reach out and I can find almost anything. It might take me a day or two because I know who. But I know, if we needed, say, a biker trooper, I can think of 3 people off the top of my head I can contact right now, and if they got back with me, at least, like I said, I can talk to biker troopers. A bunch of stormtroopers, 3 Legion Darth Vaders, and I know a 4th guy that has a Darth Vader suit. So I can get Vaders, for biker troopers. I know Imperial Guardsmen, Darth, certain various and sort of the Darths. I can get at least touch with 2 Darth Mauls if need be. Used to know a 3rd one, but he quit talking to me for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I made one too many short jokes.
But see, Jennifer and I play off of our height, though, so I don't have an issue with the short jokes because Jennifer's taller than me, so that's what makes the costumes work. Sometimes is that.
Well, that's what worked so well for me and David, and especially when we do the Blues Brothers, because we looked it up. We have almost the same height difference as Aykroyd and Belushi.
Nice.
Almost exactly, because I think David, John Belushi, I think is listed as 5'7", 5'8", and Dan Aykroyd is 6'2". I'm 6'3", 6'4". David's around 5'7", 5'8". So we work as the Blues Brothers, because of course he fusses with me because I refuse to shave. I'll trim and pretty it up, but I'm not getting rid of this. My Elwood has facial hair.
Yeah.
Sorry, David. Sorry. But yeah, it's good. But it works when you can really sell it. I was joking with somebody. I want to get together a Robin costume. And just pictures of all the shorter Batman look at me like, what went wrong? Because only know one guy that does Batman that's taller than me. But I know several Batman. I think it'd be funny. I'll do some version of the classic Robin, Fat Robin, but I'll be bigger than Batman.
Robin has retired. You'll be retired, Robin.
Yeah. I'll be Dick Burt Ward Robin.
Burt Ward Robin.
Yeah, because he'd be cool. But it's kind of like I joke when I say I'm Obi-Wan if I'd gone somewhere with good food.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan, but I retired to Alderaan where they have actual restaurants. I've whipped that joke out a few times. There was a charity event we did where it was a Star Wars themed charity event, and I showed up as generic Jedi, but then everybody else was specific characters. We had Anakin, Rey, Kylo, Chewbacca, Princess Leia, and then they had a contest where they held some for all the Boy Scouts to try to guess who we were, and I went, oh hell, what am I going to say I am? Then I just said, I'm Count Dooku before it went bad. And the Boy Scouts were not impressed. But I tried to think, I didn't really look like anybody. But I remember a picture I have in one of my many Star Wars books of Count Dooku. He said I had like a light cream tunic and a darker brown tabards. Because it was illustrated to look like a young Christopher Lee, and he had the Van Dyke and the short dark hair like I like to keep it. So I just went, Count Dooku. Boy Scouts are like, no. It was so fun. It was so fun. We had Luke from Last Jedi there too.
Savon says he'll be Batman, and he's Savon's short. So
cool.
There you go. We'll hook you up with Savon, and he will be Batman, and you can play your Robin, and there will be probably about 1.5 foot height difference.
That'll work. I like it when you can do it kind of like you've seen some of my short joke pictures. Like I have a friend who's 4'11", who makes a great Velma. And we did a great picture. Her partner, I don't know if he's a romantic partner or what, but they do a great Velma and Shaggy. So we did a great picture where I'm hugging Shaggy, and I've got my hand on Velma's head, like whenever she's trying to come, like being looking angry. And I just firmly put my hand on her forehead, and I'm hugging on Shaggy like we're just about to carry on. And then I put that on Instagram, and 400 people loved it.
Nice.
I never had that kind of reach on it. Maybe it was over 300 people. I'd have to go back and look, but it was great because I made sure I tagged Velma, Shaggy, etc., everything I could think of. And it's right at the height of that when Lord Shaggy was viral, so I hit it just right.
Nice.
It was fun. Yeah, I would like. It was fun because he's perfect. He just puts on the wig and you got Shaggy. He even sounds like he's not doing Shaggy. Those were fun.
So we have been doing this for 1 hour and 15 minutes, guys, believe it or not. So I don't think we're going to get to the cosplay tips part, but I will ask Michael this final question before we sign off. What tips do you have for cosplay beginners? What do you wish that you knew then, what you know now?
Okay, make sure your footwear is comfortable. Comfortable footwear. Take into account you're going to have to go to the bathroom.
Yes.
Comfortable footwear, but make sure you have somebody there to watch out for you, especially if it's like the gorilla suit I was melting in.
Mm-hmm.
But the big thing is comfort. You got to go to the bathroom, plan for it. Don't, rest, drink lots of water, eat. And just remember your manners. Ask. Don't, watch out where you're going. If you do it and do test runs of the costume before you take it out to a crowded con floor. But the other big thing is footwear, because I messed my foot up and I'm still healing from it at work. So if you don't have good footwear, I'm still limping. Ow. Good footwear, take care of yourself. And remember, when you're building the costume, you're going to have to go to the bathroom.
All right.
Then I could come up with a bunch more, but those are the important ones. You have good footwear. Make sure your costume works. Make sure you can sit, move. You're going to be carrying a wallet. Make sure you can get to your wallet, your phone, anything, medicines you might need.
Yep.
Or have friends.
Yep. Pain pills. Yeah.
Pain pills.
Okay. All right. Jenno, what advice do you have for cosplayers? What do you wish you knew then, what you know now? Following up with you.
Well, definitely, obviously, shoes or footwear. Especially when you're planning darkness and you have platformed foam shoes that you need to take into consideration. And after 8 hours standing up, they're going to shrink. that was the worst of it. But no, I suppose, like with hoop skirts, actually going to the restroom with hoop skirts aren't bad as long as you can get to the handicap stall. If you can't, you're kind of screwed a little bit. But I think the big thing is keeping that. What I've learned is keeping a emergency sewing kit with lots of safety pins, because costume rips or something goes wrong, you got to have those safety pins ready, because that's what happened with Tinkerbell. And we were prepared because my wings had ripped off the back of my Tinkerbell costume, and so we just literally safety pinned the wings to the costume.
Okay.
Before I got Velcro tabs on my tabards and all my Jedi tunics, safety pins. But now they all have Velcro tabs because they wouldn't just rest on me, and it would be really a pain in the butt to have the tabard fall off. So yeah. So when I do the Jedi, I always try to make sure I have in one of the many pouches the Jedis carry. One of my pouches has safety pins in it.
Yeah, safety pins is a new duct tape if you can't bring duct tape.
Yes.
Duct tape, safety pins, and painkillers.
Indeed.
And make sure you stay hydrated.
Yes. Especially if you've got a big costume or a heavy costume on, for sure.
Yeah, that gorilla suit. I've never. I don't ever want to be that uncomfortable and hot again. And I work in a warehouse with no AC, so I know how that goes.
In Texas.
Yeah.
But I don't have to wear a gorilla suit. I would probably have died.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Hell, I've got nothing else to do, but it's up to y'all. It's y'all show.
We have another segment planned. Obviously, we'll probably do it another time. We were going to give tips and then like planning.
Yeah, we'll invite you back, Michael, because I have dogs that I feed right now, and they're
I'm getting kind of hungry myself. So yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to wrap it up with what I think is the most important things that a person should know when they're cosplaying. I'm going to say number one is you have to be patient. There's a lot of people at these things. And when you're in line and things like that, there's going to be people everywhere. So just be patient. Be nice to people. Because they are there in line just the same as you. There's no need to be rude and push people around. And the most important thing that I have learned, you need to wear deodorant.
Regular bathing.
Deodorant with you, please.
I will add to that. When I started the day in that gorilla suit, I took a shower that morning, but by the time we got back to my friend Paul's house about 5 o'clock, you couldn't tell.
I would just say, you're going to get hot. You're going to get sweaty. It's always important to bring a personal pack of tissues, deodorant, pain pills, extra socks, water bottle. Just pack accordingly. But deodorant is a very important thing.
And most of your bigger, better, well-run cons have a cosplay room. So
yes. So Swan says yes. Deodorant will win. Yes, trust me. All right, so I think we are going to go ahead and wrap this up for this time. Michael, we would love to have you back when we will actually get into the topic that we were going to discuss, with cosplay tips. So we want you back, and
I'd love to.
Maybe we'll talk some other one of your friends into joining us as well. I know you've got some amazing cosplay connections. We would love to have them come be a part of this as well. So for those of you who are watching, thank you. And have a great night.
Y'all,
thanks, guys. See you later. Yeah, bye. Thanks, guys.
Bye.